Good afternoon. I'm State Senator Kevin Witkos, and we're back to finally some warm weather, and it's the month of June. And I'm so proud and honored to have with me our special veteran guest of the month, Trevor Brittell from the town of Simsbury. Trevor served some time. He's currently actually on active duty, serving as a staff sergeant for the military police. Trevor, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to meet you and to have you on as our honored guest for the month this month.
It's an honor to be here.
Well, what I like to do with my guests is to kind of go back and give a little bit of a history, because you're the first person that we've actually honored that's currently serving in the military. We've had the opportunity to have veterans from World War II, Vietnam, and the Korean War, but we've never had somebody that was able to talk to the people for the conflicts that you were involved in. So tell me a little bit about where you were born, how old you are, if you don't mind. I know guys don't really care about that, but
yeah.
And how you got interested in the military service.
I'm 35. I'm originally from California. As it kind of worked out, the family came east with different things, with kind of growing with the insurance world way back when, and our family followed along, and we settled in Simsbury, and I was probably only 6 years old at the time. So I spent majority of my life in town.
Okay.
Once I graduated from Simsbury High School, I was kind of at a little bit of a crossroads. So really wanted to go to college, and I was fairly athletic and wanted to stick with that as well. So the National Guard became a really big option for me. I went down one day and I talked to the recruiter in New Britain, and I came home that night and told my mom. She said, how was your day? What'd you do today? I was like, I got this, that, the other thing, and I joined the Army. So she dropped her fork and said, are you kidding me? And I said, nope. I said, I joined the National Guard, and I'm going to be able to go to college for free. So at that point, she was a little more supportive, I think. She was very excited and just a little bit blown away by it. But
now that's a big sign of spontaneity if I've ever seen it before. Now, has anybody in your family, like your dad or grandparents or aunts or uncles, served in the military before? That's why you kind of gravitating towards that, or?
One of the biggest role models I had growing up was my grandfather, my mom's dad, and he served in World War II, and he had a real big influence on my life growing up. And the day I joined, he looked at me and we talked to each other in a whole different light, and it continued that way up until he passed in 2001. Mm-hmm. And I deployed my first time probably 9 months after he passed away, so I felt completely safe. I knew he was there with me the whole time. Yeah. And the best part about that was I went to Bosnia, and we actually went a week after 9/11. And at the time, I was with the 29th Infantry Division. So our infantry company was the first part of that division to deploy since World War II. So having part of my grandfather with me and going on that mission, I felt like this was my calling. This is where I was supposed to be.
We had a chance to talk off camera before we started the interview, and I know what the current practice is, what a lot of the school districts do is they bring veterans in to talk to the kids on Veterans Day, to give them a real-life experience, to hear firsthand from the folks that have served in our military and some of their experiences that they've gone through, because some of those things you can't hear in a book. And I think it really makes an impact on our young people when they see somebody in uniform, knowing that they could lose their life, the next day, serving overseas or even over back on our shores in the military. And you share with me a story about when you were a youngling in your elementary school grade. Why don't you share with us that story?
I was a Squadron 9, I think it was 5th or 6th grade or so. A soldier came in and talked about his time in Iraq with the Gulf War. And we had the map down, so it was kind of a lesson in everything. He said, we were kind of in this area. I can't tell you exactly, but we did this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, And at the time, never really thinking that I was going to be a soldier myself. So I had the opportunity when I got back to go with my cousin to Tooten Hills. And as I'm standing in front of the class in uniform, the teacher pulled down the map and said, where were you? And I had that immediate flashback of back when I was in their seats. And
sure.
So it was really, really cool how that worked out. And it would be fun to see if any of those kids grow up and decide that they're going to do the same thing.
I'm sure you made a great positive impression on all those kids that day. And you may very well hear someday that there was Army infantryman that came in and talked to our
Yeah.
class, and I remember him pointing to a map, and that always kept back in my mind, something I wanted to do. Now, what was your experience like when you went to the recruiting office? You went to, where was it, New Britain, you said?
In New Britain, yep.
And did you say, hey, I'm here, I want to join?
Kind
Is it
of.
sign on the bottom line? Or
It was funny because I went in and I said, I want to be an MP. That was really the only thing I knew about the Army.
Right.
You know, I always had the idea that I want to do somewhere in law enforcement for my career field. So the recruiter brings me in and he said, no, you don't want to be an MP. Don't you want to go camping? And don't you want to shoot guns? Don't you want to blow stuff up? And what boy doesn't want to do that at
Sure.
18 years old? So I said, yeah, of course. He said, infantry's for you. Okay. You know, a little foolishness at the time, but I'm happy it worked out that way. The discipline and the camaraderie I had with those 10 years in the infantry is just second to none.
Now, what happens from the time that you sign up to the time of your departure to boot camp, I guess? Do you have a lot of time in between to settle your affairs before you had to ship out?
I did a little bit, yep. I had what's called the delayed entry program, so
Okay.
it allowed me to go and do a year of college. So I went to Western Connecticut in Danbury.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and then I went to basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia after that. So did my full time there, and in '99, November '99, I graduated from that, and in August of 2001, I had volunteered already we left for our first deployment.
And then August in 2001, so in September of 2001, we had 9/11 here.
Correct.
Were you currently serving overseas at the time that happened?
We
or-
actually were still in the
Where were
train up
you?
in New Jersey, so we were very much right in the triangle of the
right
three events.
downtown. Sure.
So it was pretty crazy that day. We had been out in the field training for 3 days, so we were pretty much cut off from the world. And, you know, not a lot of cell phones weren't real big yet, and there was really no way for us, anyways, to find out what had happened. While we were out there on the rifle range, our captain started yelling for all the lieutenants to get up into the tower right away. They had phones up there and everything, and our lieutenant came down and said, "Put your stuff on, we're going." And that's all he said. We didn't know any better, so we were all great.
You didn't question at that
Nope.
time. You knew better.
We said, "Okay, Roger, sir, let's go." So even though we all kind of griped about it, like we are so far away from post and we have to walk back, but it's the infantry way, so off we go. And all of a sudden we see tons and tons of Humvees rolling, speeding to us. We're like, now the wheels are starting to turn a little bit, and we're like, oh, this seems like it's more than something like we're just going in for done. Training's over,
exercise, right?
So they piled us into Humvees and just anywhere you could fit and squeeze, and the captain came around and said, "Men, this is no joke. This is we've been there. Our country's under attack, and we're going back to defend the post." We're like, "Whoa!" So everything changed.
Sure.
Everybody's game face went on right away, and it was crazy. The first time Fort Dix had been locked down since World War II, and the whole situation everything changed. We were just a National Guard unit getting a rare opportunity to deploy at that time,
Right.
to where here we are on the brink of war. So it took me probably 12 hours or so after it happened when I finally got to see it on TV, and it was just as everybody knows, it was just crazy.
Right,
the whole
sure.
thing.
Yep.
So
Now, from there, did you get orders for immediate deployment, or were you prepping to go for additional training? I know our country was trying to figure out what we were going to do at that time. What was it like in your unit?
at the time we were because we were a National Guard, usually a part-time
Right.
Unit. So we did a train up prior to going to Bosnia, which we were already planning on going. So a week after 9/11 happened, we went as planned and did our 6-month tour in Bosnia.
And then you came back, and so you spent about 10 years in the infantry division.
I did, yep.
And, I tell you, obviously I'm a little biased here, but I know that you wanted to, when you were thinking about, life after the military, what do I want to do? And I think you might have reflected back to what you wanted to do when you got into the military, is that police work.
Correct. I did after the Bosnian mission. The last tour I did in the infantry was Afghanistan mission. So that all said and done was 18 months. So that was a lot, and we had done everything an infantryman would do, climb mountains and patrol on foot, and you name it, we did it. So it was an incredible experience, and something I'm very happy I did. But it wasn't necessarily something I don't know that I wanted to do again.
Sure.
So
now let me pause you there for a second, because a friend of mine was in the military and went to Afghanistan. He shared with me what life was like on the base where he was, how it was extremely hot during the day, but in the tents where you slept at night, it was cold.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't realize the difference in temperatures that your body goes through, and
Oh, yes.
physically and mentally what you go. So just describe what your normal day was like, if there was any normalcy to it.
Well, we started off in southern Afghanistan, where it was very barren, very desert, and it was like we're talking like 120 plus degrees during the day. But it was dry heat, So, in the nighttime it did cool off considerably. We were lucky enough to be in hard buildings for the first half of our tour. Second half of our tour, we moved way up in the northeast corner and built a brand new base. So that's the time when we were living out of tents. And being up in the mountains, we had a lot of different weather, snow and hail and the craziness of the winter time.
Sure. That
we wouldn't have had down in the southern atmosphere. So we had a lot of experience that varied from day to day. We really didn't know what we were going to get, but it started to warm up again as we were there in country from April to April. So we experienced the whole gamut.
Mm-hmm. And your missions, would you get those on a daily sheet? Would you be assembled in the morning, and whoever was in charge of your unit would say, today we're going to sweep this, or we're going to go out there and we're going to patrol this area? Or how would your day start?
More or less. It depended. Some people would do certain things, and some people would go out on patrol. It varied from day to day, and sometimes what you were planning on for the week will change because something else came up. Sure. Just like in a police department in the States, you can plan and plan and plan, and then as soon as you find out something, or you find out where somebody is, then everything changes and you go right now. So we did a lot, depending on we were a security force for a provincial reconstruction team. So we did a lot of missions to help. We brought blankets and toys and got to meet with the kids and school supplies, and met with elders from different villages around our area.
What kind of experience was that like?
It was phenomenal, especially with the kids. I think working with the kids, and my same experience in Bosnia and later on in Iraq, that doesn't matter where you are in the world, kids are kids. Mm-hmm. And they just want to be a kid. They want to have fun. One of the big things that people sent us from Connecticut, and everybody was so incredibly supportive of us, was Beanie Babies, which is the big thing.
Sure.
The kids just absolutely loved them. But I mean, even something as simple as a pen or a water bottle, they cherished it, So that part really kind of made it all worthwhile. If we can prove to the kids that Americans are okay, and everything is not as awful as it they may be getting taught, hopefully that'll help the future. That was kind of our thought process.
Yeah, and one of the things I thought was interesting when you said you were transitioning, you wanted to move into the military police and get the training for that. Mm-hmm. You share with me that they serve 3 different functions of military police, and just go through those 3 functions. I thought that was fascinating.
The 3 main functions, military police do a lot of different things, but the 3 main functions are, law and order, which would be your everyday, police officer essentially on post, and corrections, to work in the different prisons and disciplinary barracks, and another one is called combat support. So their main mission essentially is to focus on, route reconnaissance and route security and convoys and those sorts of things that help out the rest of the fighting force. So every MP needs to be cross-trained on all 3 of them, because just because I'm in a combat support unit now doesn't mean I can't get activated to go do a law and order mission in Germany and backfill that unit who went to Afghanistan. So you have to be able to do a lot of different things. MP is joking around, is multi-purpose.
Oh, okay.
So
Very true.
we have to be able to do a lot of different things, and those are the three essentials.
And one of the things I saw in your bio said that you participated or you trained in prisons, or you went and helped build a prison, or staff it, or train somebody to run the prisons.
We did a little bit of all of that, really. The MP in 2009 and 10, I deployed with MPs from Connecticut, and we went and ran Camp Cropper, which is the prison in Baghdad. So it was one of the bigger ones. We helped close down two of the other ones in the country, and by closing them down, that means to the Americans, and then we turned over to Iraqi control. So we helped run the prison and teach Iraqi correction officers how to do it on their own, and how they're going to be able to interact with the prisoners. You know, it's very important that they can do their own, run their own prisons, and know how to do it with their own people, and understand what's going to happen when the Americans aren't there to help them out.
Fantastic. One of the things I always say to the folks that are sitting in your chair, and people that are watching it, and current veterans, people that are currently serving, and people that may be serving in the future, if you could give one message out to the folks that are thinking about serving or that are currently serving, what message would you like to say to those folks today?
It was by far the greatest decision I've ever made. I'm at 16 years currently. I'm enlisted to go a little bit over my 20-year commitment, and so I intend to retire. And like I said, when I joined, it was just to kind of go to college and see what happens. And it was the people you meet and the people you serve with are something you're never going to experience anywhere else and doing any other job in the world.
They'll be your friends for life.
Absolutely.
Always part of the brotherhood.
As a matter of fact, my platoon from Afghanistan, we still get together every Veterans Day. And a lot of them still live in the area, and a lot of us are married with little kids now. And we refer to ourselves as the Army family. So we're all aunts and uncles and cousins, and it's fantastic, And like I said, you're just not going to find that anywhere else. Probably something similar to being a firefighter or police officer, EMS, and being in that kind of a field. But the brotherhood is really second to none.
Every veteran that I've interviewed so far has said the same thing. It's been a pleasure meeting you. Best of luck in your future endeavors, and thank you for all that you do for our country.
Thank you,
truly
sir.
Appreciate it.
It's my honor.
Thank you. Tune in next month as we continue Senator Witkos' Veterans Corner. That's all for today. Good night.